Sorry, but not sorry. But no amount of money will make it okay for me to settle with mediocrity. And if you think otherwise, we don't think the same. I'm Demond Logan, the high performance impact coach specializing in mindset transformations for professionals looking to elevate their impact. And in this video today, we're going to be exposing the hard truths about mediocrity and how the price of mediocrity is extremely expensive and the cost is your potential. Let's develop. So today I want to cover 3 points. The first one that we're going to get right into is that mediocrity is the most expensive choice. I repeat, mediocrity is the most expensive choice. The reason why mediocrity is so expensive because mediocrity is in search of, in pure desire of, in need of, and places itself in the realm and the environment that is just wrapped in pure comfort. And what do we know about comfort? We know that comfort kills ambition, right? So I've talked about this in previous videos. I've talked about this to my clients all the time, how when we are in a state, we are constantly naturally designed to be in a place where we are constantly in our business and our home life and our family and everything. We're trying to get to a place where we feel comfortable. How this kills the ambitions of a lot of entrepreneurs and a lot of business owners, a lot of people, is that we set this goal that we want to hit. And when we get there, we feel good because what we did was we associated our actual goal and destination with not just the result, but what the result represents and symbolizes, which is pure comfort. That when we get there, we feel good. What do you hear when you're in grind mode, you're struggling, you're trying to get it, and then you have that big deal, you close that big deal, you're making that money. What happens? You have a tendency to take a deep breath and take your foot off the gas. So let me show you, when I tell you about that comfort kills ambition, because since you wrapped it up into an emotion and a feeling and you reach that happy space, that emotion and feeling, you don't feel the need to keep going, but your ambition is blind. Your ambition doesn't have the emotion. It doesn't feel. It only knows that it's supposed to go up and keep pushing up and not stop and not slow down and not quit, but keep pushing. So you have to be very careful because comfort will be your greatest trap, because growth is a violent process. Said it before. Let me say it again. One of the other things that I've seen in this aspect, and this is personal to me because I had a couple of friends in my college days that went through this route. One very particular, he had an entrepreneur spirit and the desire, but he wanted the security of his corporate job. So he went, got his degrees, got a really nice corporate job, did his job, did his work, executed well, got promotions, got awards, got all this stuff. But when it was time, the company downsized. They cut him off. He got his severance, but they cut him off like they did everybody else, while the top of the top kept their big bonuses and kept making that money. And he had to reset. And I knew then that the illusion of comfort that a job gives you is just an illusion. There is no true guarantee. This happened to him twice. Now, each time he landed better, he landed on his feet, but ultimately he had to go a route where he was going to take his own destiny in his own hands, because security is one of the greatest ways for you to accept and settle for less and stunt your growth and not access the full scope of your ability and potential. And think of it like this. I want you to think of it like you are taking this concept of security. You're feeling inside that you're meant to do more, but you also feel trapped, like you don't want to take those risks. You might have a kid, you might have family, so on and so forth. So you're keeping yourself locked in. Now, what happens with that is that so-called security, that so-called comfort is like deposits you make into a bank, right? A high interest account. I mean, a high interest account where it's 2x and 3x and everything, except what the interest that you're rewarded with is regret. And the thing that happens with regret is over time, you find that what you got in return didn't increase the value. even though on the surface it felt like it was. It didn't increase the value, but it puts you further and further in debt. So I want you to imagine that you're working hard to be comfortable and have this American dream, and then you're working hard to do what they said you're supposed to do, have this good job, work this good thing, and then you're depositing all your life, all your time, all your energy in the bank, and what you get as the interest, as the reward, is regret with a price tag that leaves your soul in debt. Now, who are you going to be? These are the things that we have to say, because right now the question is, are you living your life to fulfill the lowest version of mediocrity? Number two, what I want to talk about right now is the difference between high performers and settlers. The difference between high performers and those who are just willing to settle. One thing that I've learned from high performers, from those that are really killing it, people that are beyond me, and the clients that I teach, and my most successful clients that really get the biggest of results, is that they value mastery over money. See, they're not looking for some cheap fix. They're not looking for anything. What I found was very interesting is that you will have high-level, highly successful entrepreneurs that will pay hundreds of thousands of dollars, even millions of dollars, to be in a mastermind, to be in a group, just to get access to information, right? Just so they can get access to information on work that they are going to have to do and implement themselves in their business. While I see a lot of people that function on a lower level, they want to find somebody that they can pay the cheapest they can pay, who's going to do it all for them. They don't have to know it. They don't have to learn it. They don't have to grow. And what happens is that they're looking for the quick fix. They're looking for the quick way out, when in the end, when you value mastery over money, you grow, you elevate, you develop, and develop increases your value in the marketplace, and the marketplace rewards you according to your value. So what we see right here, right now, while we're talking, is that mastery and development is everything. This is why you always hear me say that everything can be solved with development. Whatever's going on in your business right now that you're looking to unlock and increase your performance or increase the streamline, the efficiency of your operations, it can all be done by developing and accessing the information that you are willing to execute and place action upon. The other part is, settlers always take what's given. They say, hey man, it just is what it is. I mean, what am I gonna do? I've just dealt with this hand. Ain't nothing I can do about that, right? But the real people who succeed, who are succeeders, says, I was blessed with this hardship. And because it didn't break me, it has an opportunity to elevate me, because it is a conditioning of my strength. I'm gonna tell you this conversation that I had with, I was at Walmart here recently, and there was a homeless guy that was in the store, and he asked me, could I buy him the sleeping bag because he's sleeping outside? And I said, sure. I said, well, wait a minute, how much is the sleeping bag? He said, look, let me go. I can meet you up front, but I'm going to go get the cheapest one. I'm going to go see if they got one cheaper. He came back with literally the cheapest sleeping bag they had. Matter of fact, it was a kid-sized sleeping bag, but he said it was the cheapest one. And I was like, all right, he's not trying to think, he's really trying to fill a need. So I said, let's go back. Let's go ahead back there and let's get you something better. So we got him adult size, a warm one. We made a decision. Now, do you want the one that's for the cold, or do you want like this warm sleeping bag because it's going to be summer? He said, I'll take the warm one. So we got him that. And then we were talking, and he was telling me about some of the mental challenges he's had, and how, he has people that, because he's homeless, he don't even say anything to people. They throw stuff at him. They do stuff. They do all this stuff. And I said, and how it really messes with him. And it's like he has PTSD from it. And what I told him, I said, why don't you flip the script on how you see that? Like, why don't you think of it like this way, that what this really means is not that you're less than or a cast out, but what it really means is that you have impact, polarizing impact, that you've affected people you didn't even talk to in such a dynamic way that they have to have an allergic reaction. And when you flip that mechanic in your thought process, you begin to empower yourself, because you realize how grand you are. And by doing that, You are now aligned to take advantage and take control because you decide that I have the ability to exercise this impact as I see fit, when I see fit, what gives you mastery and control over your own destiny. The other big piece to this is that success itself is identity based, meaning that the conditioning of wanting to develop and be better and be what successful people are, it's something that becomes a part of identity. I'm not saying that it's only in their DNA. Because if it's only in their DNA and you don't have it in your DNA at birth, then it's something you can never acquire because we can't acquire their DNA. We only have ours. But what I'm saying is that success is a learned trait. Some people are predispositioned to the habits and the actions that lead to success more so than others, but it's something that all can learn and all can execute upon. So the question is that when you allow it to come inside and it becomes your identity, then you're at a point where you cannot accept anything less because it becomes this standard. One thing I tell my clients is that standards are not a line, they're a range, right? And anything below the bottom of your standard are the things that you feel that you're better in, that you can't accept, that you won't do. And then everything above it is where you start to question, are you good enough? Are you capable of? Do you deserve to be there? All of that, right? But everything in between you feel falls squarely in your identity. So I'm saying that if you take all of the traits and all of the things and you place it squarely in your identity, it becomes something that you believe you can accomplish, you know you can do, you don't second guess it about it, and you go and you execute time and time and time again. And that is something that only happens when you allow it to be part of how you see you are and function, because we don't do what we don't identify with, and we always do what we identify with. Period. Matter of fact, a phrase that I like to always say to my clients is that we spend our entire life every day doing one thing, and that is taking our life and trying to make our life match our identity, how we feel about self, the self-esteem level that we have. And whenever it's out of balance, one way or another, is when we feel uncomfortable or when we don't like it. And when we feel like it's balanced, that's when we feel good, right? So you want success to always be part of your identity. Number 3, wealth should elevate you, not own you. Let me say that once again. Wealth should elevate you, not own you. I've seen so many people make money an idol. They made money a God, and they place their value based on how much money in their bank account, which only means that when their bank account rises, their perceived value rises, but also with the same laws and the same conditioning, because it always goes both ways, right? That when their bank account lowers, so does their value, so does their worth, so does their identity shifts downward because of the money in their account. And the truth is, what every rich person will say, truly successful people would tell you, is that money is just leverage. It's just a tool, a resource that you can use to acquire other resources that are going to help you get further and further and closer and move faster to your goal. So for example, if your goal is to get from California to New York, well, you don't have any way to get there, so you might have to walk the whole way and it's going to take a long time. Or you say, look, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this money and I'm going to put myself in a position to be able to buy a plane ticket. And have a plane ticket get me there very fast, but I'm gonna do this work, but I'm only using money to leverage a resource for me to accomplish my goal. Money is not something you eat. Money is not something that you personally consume. Money is no form of sustenance. It's just a tool and a resource that you can leverage to acquire things that shape this dream life, that move you faster towards your goals, whatever that may be. So never make a resource God, because that is the same as me taking this shaker bottle of water and saying that this is everything. This is everything in life. This is the most important thing, when really it's just a resource that I'm using to hold what's actually valuable for me to actually consume to maintain and improve my health in life. Period. Never, ever, ever compromise your impact. And one thing that always happens is that I don't ever want you to value money so much that it in your mind mystifies someone so much that you start to believe because they have more resources, you're less. And because you're less, you don't operate in your full confidence in your ability to affect and your ability to impact. So what we see all the time is that some people idolize money so much, and people that have it, that when they're around them, they feel nervous. They can't be themselves. They can't really express, they can't live out their shell because, oh my God, this person has made so much money, right? And the truth that we see is that those people who understood that money was only meant to elevate you, as in make it more efficient so you can move faster, no matter the room they step in, they have impact, because you can have all the money in the world and not really have impact. So what that means is if you have nothing, you can have impact that would allow you to dictate your value and be rewarded according to your value in the marketplace. So what I want to tell you is I want you to always go through the process of building and not settling. Always build. An operation mind that I have, I teach my kids this concept that no matter how good you got it, no matter how well it's dialed in, the truth is that everything can always be better. There's no such thing as you got it perfect, you got it right. It can always be better. And if you keep your mind open to that, you can always see what someone else can't see. And you can always find the improvement, even if it's just a micro change. And that can change everything for you. But you have to know that you always have the ability to improve, grow all the way until the day you die. And if you can commit to that process, you will never stunt your growth and hold yourself back. And these are the reasons why I say mediocrity is extremely expensive. And it's a price that I'm not willing to pay. What I want you to do right now is I want to say, hey, I believe in you. And I know that you have what it takes to go to the next level and break all the barriers that you see are so strong and powerful that you're struggling with. So what I want you to do is I want you to get into the comments and I want you to type never settle. That's what I want to see. And feel free to comment and tell us exactly what you are going to not settle for, to show and share with everybody that you are choosing to always grow, elevate yourself, and provide the grandest impact. So if this video is the video for you that's added all that value that I know it has, I want you to go ahead, give this thing a thumb up, share it, follow me so that you can get more content, hit the bell notification. You know all of that goodness that I would love to see you do. And know that no matter what, if you are ready to take that next level, just click in the description. I got something special for you to show you how you can get to that next mountaintop. And remember, and never, ever, ever, ever forget it, that no matter what you're going through in your business, personal life, or whatever, everything can be solved with development.